We'll call to order tonight's meeting of the Kokomo Common Council, and we will start with prayer from Councilman Tony Stewart, and Councilwoman Crystal Sandberg will lead us in the pledge. So feel free to join us standing up, or you can stay seated if you choose. Okay, we want to approve the minutes from the March 9th meeting. If I can get a motion for that.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any communications about that? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. Do we have any committee reports? Any communications?
Mr. President, in the council packet, you had a list of canceled checks that were written in 2023, and the comptroller's asked us to void those checks after 2 years. So we just want to put it into the record that we as a council will have seen it, and they are going to cancel those checks. There's a list of about 10 of them, and it's not very much money, $2,400. We'll enter it into the notes.
Okay, thank you. Just so you, the audience, will know how this evening will go, we have, I know why the majority of you are here, and we're going to approach two ordinances first that don't have anything to do with why you're here, so bear with us. They're relatively simple. We'll do those, and then we'll talk about how the rest of the evening goes. Okay, if the clerk will read Ordinance 7235 by title only, please.
Ordinance 7235 is case P01Z26, is a rezone for Timber Pros vehicle storage and office for property located at 801 East Hoffer Street, Kokomo, Indiana.
Councilman Grieco.
Mr. President, Ordinance 7235 is a petition of Timber Pros LLC requesting a change in zone classification from R3 medium density residential to C2 medium to large scale general commercial for property located at 801 East Hoffer Street. This is currently a vacant lot that they will be building a building to store some vehicles and build an office on. I would move for passage of Ordinance 7235 on first reading.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass Ordinance 7235. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion passes. Ask the clerk to read Ordinance number 7236 by title only, please.
Ordinance 7236 is case P05Z26, is a rezone for single-family residential for property located at 1500 South Buckeye Street, Kokomo.
Councilman Grieco.
Mr. President, Ordinance 7236 is a petition of the Sunshine Group LLC, represented by Paul Wyman. Just holding the button down and talking at the same time, it's a lot. This is a change in zone classification from neighborhood commercial to R4 medium density urban residential for property located at 1500 South Buckeye Street. And Mr. Wyman's going to speak to that.
Good evening, members of the council. Paul Wyman, 1533 West Lincoln Road, Kokomo, Indiana. So the zoning request before you this evening, my client currently has a property zoned neighborhood commercial. He had it rezoned to neighborhood commercial several years back so that he could live there while operating a business. His business is now relocated and is interested in selling the property. And so we'd like to go back to the residential zoning that it was prior to neighborhood commercial before he sells it.
Mr. President, I move for passage of Ordinance 7236 on first reading.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any communications from council? With the motion and a second, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So we'll get to what you're here for, the annexation and the rezoning. First, let me ask, if you will, please, if you haven't done so already, either mute or turn off your telephones. We'd appreciate that. I want to thank everyone who has attended some or all of the 5 meetings, including tonight's, that have been held in regard to the proposed annexation of approximately 746 acres under Ordinance 7229 and rezoning of approximately 654 acres under Ordinance 7234. We sincerely thank you for your input. This look at annexation rezoning began with your meeting with Paul Wyman at the Kokomo Country Club, followed up with a public hearing by the Plan Commission on February the 10th, 2026, where everyone who wanted to speak was given an unlimited amount of time to speak. Next was a meeting of the Kokomo Common Council on February the 23rd, 2026, where a public hearing was conducted concerning annexation. Again, everyone who wanted to speak was given an opportunity to speak. Next was the meeting of the Kokomo Common Council on March the 9th, 2026, which was the evening where both the annexation ordinance and rezoning ordinance were both presented and passed their first reading. Those votes were only taken after this audience was once again given the opportunity to speak. Tonight's meeting on March 23rd, 2026 will be the 5th meeting where the audience will have been given an opportunity to be heard. This meeting will be different in that we are looking to hear any new information you might have and want us to consider. The time limit will be 2 minutes per speaker, and each speaker has already signed the list expressing their desire to speak. Your time may not be yielded to someone else, and I want to reiterate that the council is here tonight and will be voting on annexation and rezoning only. If you have new information to share with us, we look forward to hearing that. Any conversation concerning a purported data center has nothing to do with our purpose and responsibility. I've mentioned the meetings, but would be remiss if I left out the extreme numbers of emails we have received from many of you. A lot of you shared meaningful and thought-provoking information. Many others shared information that included personal attacks and accusations that were simply false. I'm proud of the due diligence and consideration that this council has invested in this annexation and rezoning ordinance in this process. We have heard you, and we have done our research. Finally, a lot has been said about our answering to our constituents. You're exactly right. But you have to remember that our constituency involves nearly 60,000 people who call Kokomo home, and not just a number of people who have shown up here. We'll start now with our first speaker, and we have a list that Councilor King will start calling out.
Vicki Jackson.
Hello, I'll speak of new things. I live at 5154 North, 250 West. And I had spoke with a councilman from Fulton County in Rochester, Indiana. He was the one guy who voted yes for a data center. I know it might not be a data center, we're not talking about that, but he told me what was important to make sure the EPA was involved. No tax abatements or incentives were for any company that goes in because they need the money. because they need to dredge Mud Lake. So we don't get tax abatements. We don't get any incentives. We build our homes. If we want to build a garage, we pay extra money. So that shouldn't be anything that's involved in what we're doing here. No more extra money and incentives to these big corporations that already have more money than what we do. We're the little paupers. And the mayor said today on Facebook that the American Water Company could handle any amount of water for any kind of facility that goes there. I have friends that live on 150 West. My mother lives on 150 West. They can't even do more than one load of laundry because they don't have the water pressure. Since the water went in on Phillips Street, the big tank there, they do not have the water pressure to even do more than one load of laundry. Their water is dirty. They drink all bottled water, which is probably bad for you too, the plastic, whatever. But at least they can see through it. So these are my concerns for the people that live even on the west side, not even on the east side. You know, this affects us all, and we just want to have nice, clean environments. Industry is good. Yeah, we want jobs. We want to stay at home. This is our home. But we just want it to be clean and fair for all of us and for our children. Thank you.
Clee Oliver.
Hi, Clee Oliver, 5768 West, 009 South. I think you've kind of answered what my question was going to be in the informational meeting. It had to do with the discrepancies in the legal description, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and so is there a statute that basically you were referencing that had to do with that said it was, quote, okay? I mean, if you want to email or whatever, or text or whatever, I was just curious because I know looking in there, it says something about if there was a significant change, and I just curious as to, you know, significant would be referenced oh.
Correct. This is hard. Yeah, the statute it's under Title V in the Indiana Code, and it does talk about as long as you have appropriate notice and that the people would understand what the actual hearing was about, then sure, there's going to be typos. There could be mistakes. And in that instance, these mistakes did not elevate to any level of substantial. All the parcel numbers were in there. It was just minor discrepancies on the legal descriptions. Appreciated you doing that. Actually, there were 5 discrepancies on the fiscal plan, not 1. There were 5, but they were minor. City attorney did a good job. He forwarded it to the county. They missed it by 1 day because the fiscal plan went out in the packet on the 19th of February. The information then was given to the city attorney on February 20th. And fortunately, in the annexation, those legal descriptions were correct. But thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Well, like I said, I think when I spoke, I tend to disagree with, you know, the fact that on the public hearing, it was one way, but then it got passed differently on the last couple weeks ago on the in the actual ordinance. So
5-3-1-2.3, validity of notice containing errors or omissions. That is the statute.
okay, all right. Thank you, Corbin.
Yep. Emily McMillan.
Hi, I'm Emily. I want to ask a question more so, am I allowed to ask Paul a question? It's a nice question, I promise. Or do I have to ask? It's not a bad question.
Nice, I'm going to allow
It's
Could you speak up, please?
It's a nice question. Okay, so I believe it was you that had brought the packet with the potential investors last meeting? State leads, okay. Did they come with any jobs, like who could potentially be working here? How many jobs they would bring in?
Depends on the lead. Some do and some do not. It just depends what they disclose.
Do you have a rough estimate on how many of those are definitive jobs that would like be staying here in Kokomo?
Well, again, those are just example leads that I got. So in terms of this particular development, I don't have, it's not under a plan, so there aren't numbers associated to it. This is just annexation itself.
So do you have any people that have potentially bid that have presented anything to you at all so far?
I think I can answer if I do.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, what I think you're referencing for Lori is we get, as a community, requests for proposals from site plan consultants, companies. And what they'll do is they'll go out to communities and they'll send out an RFP and say, our company is looking for this many acres, this type of zoning, this much square footage, and they put all these different requirements out. And then if your community can meet those requirements, then you would respond, or Lori would respond on behalf of the Alliance and say, our community has this in our inventory. And at that time, then it would not be uncommon for the company or the site plan consultant to come back to Lori and say, okay, since you guys have all this available, we're ready to sit down and talk with you as a community. So they don't always show everything up front. A lot of times we have to respond saying, we have what you need. And a lot of times it is exactly what we showed the other night. Do you have so many acres of zoned industrial? Do you have access to? And they have their whole list.
So there's nothing on how many jobs could potentially be brought here?
Again, it just depends on if any particular lead wants more information, and then we get into conversation at that time. So
Okay.
at this point in time, no.
Okay. I think our one of our main concerns is if this does go through, how many are going to be considered local and how many are going to be considered long-term? Because you want to keep it in Kokomo and you want to, keep Kokomo up and running, and you're all worried about Kokomo, which we're in Kokomo. So, thank you.
Joanne Crawford.
Hello, my name is Joanne Crawford. I live in Kokomo, and I've lived here my whole life. The past couple weeks, I've really reflected with myself of how did we end up here. This is a monumental decision that you guys are being asked to make in a relatively quick time. So I realize that I have shirked my civic duty. I thought that voting was enough. I thought that if I vote, maybe do a little jury duty, then the system acts the way it does. And I have seen that that's not necessarily the case. Accountability requires participation. And I am committed going forward to participate as much as I can. And there is a room full of people who feel the same way. And we aren't going anywhere. And I would ask you, please, to take this last chance to think about a decision that is going to affect generations.
Caroline Bossum. I did.
Okay, so tonight, my new information is actually from a speech from someone that lives out of state that's actually facing some of the same things with high industrial. We don't know what it's going to be. We know what the rumor is. I won't go there. So I'm just going to give a few quotes. Can you get closer to the mic, please? Sorry.
Is this better?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to give a few quotes of people that live near currently and things that they're experiencing, the different industrial sites, the high industrial. Quote, I've been here, and this is by Rhiannon Clark. I don't want to take any credit. Quote, I've been here 81 years. I can't stay here. Quote, my mom has been here her whole life, 82 years. She's not happy about it, but she does want to leave. Quote, my neighbor was washing my clothes and messed up a whole load of whites because it came out stained from the brown water. A conversation between a journalist and a resident. Do you feel like it's safe to drink? No, I buy water. Have they addressed that? No, they haven't. Have you gotten any information at all? No, none at all. Quote, this is my water pressure in my kitchen, a trickle. Quote, this is where I fill my buckets to flush my toilet. Quote, I can't breathe at home. It smells like gas outside. Quote, you know when you light your stove and the gas seeps with that little ticking noise? That's what it smells like. Quote, my electric and gas bill is more than my car payment. Quote, the light pollution is we don't have a night light in the house. You can't walk around the house at night, or you can walk around the house at night and see everything. It's that bright. And a favorite quote of hers, a lawyer from Microsoft, quote, nobody really wants a data center in their backyard. I don't want a data center in my backyard. So I hope that with this rezoning and with this annexation, that you look into the future, because that's what this rezoning and annexation is about. It's about future projects. So we need to be mindful of what is actually going to go in and what harm it will possibly do to our fellow neighbors. Do we want that on our shoulders? Do we want to have that high stress for all of our people, all of the constituents? Do we want that? I thank you for your time. Have a good night.
All right, Hannah Guillaume, is that right? They actually have been putting
Nice work.
Hello, City Council. Hannah Guillaume, 415 North Wabash Avenue. I oppose both the rezoning and the annexation in a form of protest. I will be reading The End of the Lorax by Dr. Seuss. I'm going to go fast, and I can't show the pictures, so I'm sorry. Just listen closely. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factories, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the needs that I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north, and went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes. That old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffed. He snargled, he sniffed. Once, he cried with a cruciferous croak. Once, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor Swami swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smoggled up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about gluppity glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity glup, also sloppity slop. And what will you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirtily old Onceler man, you. You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in some search of some water that isn't so smeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yappity yap and say bad, 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 bad. And, well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you I intend to go on just doing what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring and biggering and biggering and biggering. Turn more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack, and the axe of the tree, and then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles, aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smuggled stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backwards glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And after all the Lorax left here in the mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So Catch called the Onceler, he let something fall. It's a truffula tree, it's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack, then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. Thank you so much. Please vote no on this.
Lisa Washington.
Lisa Washington, 3156 Woodfield Drive, Kokomo, Indiana. Good evening, council members and public members who have come out this evening. My husband and my children have been members of this community for over 25 years. I wanted to share my personal experience with economic development. I believe Paul Wyman talked about the RFP, and possibly Michigan was one of the sites that might be available. So I moved here from Michigan, and I moved from a county, Calhoun County. It's where I was raised, and it's one of the peer counties that we have looked at when we've done community health needs assessments. Calhoun County is slightly larger than Howard County. It has a population of 134,000. But like Howard County, my hometown and my county was dependent on the auto industry in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. When the recession hit in the mid-70s and the late 70s, factories in my hometown sputtered and eventually shut down. Economic development ideally creates job opportunities, diversifies the economy, enhances infrastructure and public service. What happened in my hometown is not something I want to see happen to where my husband, my kids, and all of these people in this room are. So, for example, my dad, my dad graduated from high school in Albion in 1941. My oldest brother graduated from high school in 1970. His graduating class had over 200 members. By the time I graduated in the mid-'80s, there was less than 100 students. Now, there is no public school system in Albion, Michigan, because, well, I'll get on with the rest of my speech. The hospital where my grandmother was a dietitian and my mom worked.
Lisa, your time's up.
It's 2 minutes today. Okay, well, I guess. I'm bringing new information. I think you could let me have just about 30.
We set 2 minutes, and it's all right. I let it go 2:30 the way it was, so we'll go to the next speaker.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you for your time and the community members who have come out and utilized their civic power.
Thomas Sharp.
Good evening. Thomas Sharp, 1308 Meadowbrook Drive. Our organization, Purge, People United for the Responsible Growth for Everyone, proposed a continuance to give you extra time to research and make sure that you're doing what is responsible for Kokomo, and you didn't even have the gumption to tell me that it was denied. Anyone with a single ounce of sense can look at this and see that it is a data center. We have consulted with organizations that fight data centers across this state and across the country, and everyone looks at this and says it's a data center. Anyone that says it's not or believes it is a fool. Once again, we ask you to not blindly rezone this area as high industrial. Don't make the same mistakes that other communities have. Listen to your people and what they want and do it responsibly. I remind you that your job is to protect the people of Kokomo, not to protect the interests of Kokomo elites or goats, as they call themselves. As I know you have read, the name of our organization, Purge, has a dual meaning. We intend to fight to remove every person on this board who votes no or votes yes against the will of the people on this ordinance.
Kathy Hoover.
Kathy Hoover, 1130 East, 450 North in Kokomo. I think we all know, we know, you know, the majority of people in Kokomo, we talk to them every day. They email us, what's going on with this? The majority of people in Kokomo do not want this passed. Let's not play the Pied Piper and go behind a couple when the majority of the people do not want this. I guarantee you the majority of Kokomo does not want this. Two gentlemen sat behind me at the last meeting from Greentown. They have nothing in this. They said, I can't believe that they're going to pass all that blindly, not knowing what's coming here, unless we really do know what's coming here. And two people that stood against the wall at the meeting before that lived in Green Tree subdivision on South Dixon. They have nothing in it. They don't live in the area. A lot of these people live in the city limits of Kokomo already. They're not out where all this is going to take place. We might have something that a company wants. Let's look at Star Energy. They're not even employing half of what they told Kokomo they were bringing to Kokomo. Let's please make sure, but they're still getting tax abatements. Let's make sure we're doing this the right way. Let's don't do it quickly. Let's wait for someone to come to us first and say, this is what we need. Can you make it happen in a decent amount of time? The fire protection is not there. And it's really easy to say, well, we can bring the water. We can bring the fire protection. At what cost? The fire protection out in that area is nil. I mean, it's just, it would take way too long. You represent the people who elected you. We are asking that you vote that way, not the way a few want, but what the majority of people in Kokomo want. We're asking you to vote for the people that elected you.
Brooke Walsh.
Brooke Walsh, 2400 Finney Lee Drive, Kokomo, Indiana. Last time I was cut off with 37 seconds left to go, so I would like to reclaim that time this evening. If you truly serve God first, you will understand why voting no is so important. Genesis 1:26, humanity is given dominion over the earth, which is understood as responsible stewardship and care, not destruction. Genesis 2:15, the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. If you refuse to listen to the people tonight, we, the voters, will make sure your council days are numbered. We will be purging our local government. We will be turning to the candidates that are willing to listen to the people. We will purge this government by voting out all of the corruption and greed. A yes vote tonight will be a no vote for you at the polls. As I started the last meeting, I was going person to person, and I was cut off. I do not accept a group answer. I accept individualized answers. This half of the council answered my questions. I would like to finish. So, Corbin King, have you yourself or do you have any knowledge of anyone signing a non-disclosure agreement in regards to this issue of rezoning or annexation?
I do not.
Thank you. Diane Howard, have you yourself or do you have any knowledge of anyone signing a non-disclosure agreement in regards to this issue of rezoning and annexation?
I do not.
Matt Greco, have you yourself or do you have any knowledge of anyone signing a non-disclosure agreement in regards to this issue of annexation and rezoning? Crystal Sandburn, have you yourself or do you have any knowledge of anyone signing a non-disclosure agreement in regards to this issue? Do not. And Tom Miklick, have you yourself or do you have any knowledge of anyone signing a non-disclosure agreement in regards to this issue of rezoning and annexation? I appreciate you answering my question, and I really, truly hope that you take all of this into consideration, and at the very least, if you can't consider our constituents and what they really, truly want, at least consider the fact that your jobs, your position, depends on how you vote tonight and how they vote at the polls.
Candace Stanton.
It's Staten, but close enough. Oh, it's all good. Everybody's been saying it wrong for 36 years now. I just wanted to apologize, first of all, because I heard you guys say this has been a work for 30 years. Again, I'm 36 years old, so I apologize for not attending county council meetings when I was barely wiping my own rear. But here's the deal with why I'm here. I live at 12214 West 250 South, Rocheville, Indiana. My son is special needs, and he gets bused to Howard Elementary for special needs preschool at age 3. My son could not talk. He just learned to talk about a year and a half ago. I had to wait till he was 4 to hear I love you. If it was not for Howard Elementary and their education system there, my son would not be speaking. He would not be functioning like a semi-normal child that is neurodivergent. So when you're going to put this high industrial level park out there, you're going to interrupt children like my son's learning. People like my son who can't fight for himself. He's 5 years old. Dude, I pay taxes in Western School District. Why am I dragging my rear into Kokomo, Indiana? Because you are doing things that are going to hurt people like my son. And since he can't speak for himself, that's what I'm here for. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're going to do what you're going to do. There's nothing I'm going to do that's going to change your mind. I barely have a dog in the fight except for my son means everything to me. I have 3 children that you are about to vote the future away for. I would have brought them here if I would have thought it made a difference for you to look in the face what you're going to do today. But I know you don't care. And you never will, because you don't consider you're pro-life until that child is born. That is all I have to say today. I really hope for your sake you are Christians. And I really hope that you take your Bible for certain, because as an atheist, I think I'm a better Christian than you.
Emily Greer.
Hello. Sorry if my voice gets shaky or anything. Public speaking is the worst. Okay, so when we talk about industrial growth, like factories being built or cities expanding outward through annexation, we often focus on economic benefits. But there are real measurable impacts on mental health that don't get as much attention. First, let's look at factories and industrial environments. Living near factories has been linked to higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. A big reason for that is environmental exposure, things like air pollution and constant noise. Even if people don't consciously notice it all the time, those stressors build up and affect both mood and overall mental well-being. I'm sorry, I need a breath. I'm so sorry. Another issue is the loss of green space. When industrial areas expand, natural environments are often replaced with buildings and roads. That matters more than people think. Access to nature has been shown to reduce stress and improve mental health, so losing it can have the opposite effect. There's also a psychological component. People who live near industrial zones often report feeling like they have less control over their environment. That sense of powerlessness can contribute to long-term stress and emotional strain. On top of that, factory work itself can be mentally taxing. Shift work, especially irregular hours, disrupts sleep cycles, which increases the risk of anxiety and depression. And in many industrial economies, job security isn't guaranteed, which adds another layer of stress. Expansion can also disrupt communities. When areas are absorbed into a growing city, people can lose their sense of connection and support systems. That can lead to isolation, even in more populated areas. There's also the economic side. As cities expand, the cost of living often rises, but job opportunities don't always grow at the same pace or in the same areas. That imbalance creates financial stress and uncertainty. When you combine all of these factors, industrial presence, rapid expansion, and limited amenities, you start to see a pattern, especially in smaller cities. Places like Kokomo can end up with the pressure of industrialization, but without the benefits that larger cities offer, like diverse entertainment, accessible healthcare, and well-developed public spaces. That imbalance can make stress and dissatisfaction even worse. Thank you.
Caleb Chance.
Good evening, Caleb Chance, 530 West Sycamore Street. My name is Caleb Chance, and I'm a civil designer, and I've worked on a number of projects here in Kokomo, as well as on large-scale developments across the state. I want to start by saying that I am not here because I'm 100% against annexation, and I'm not 100% against the rezone. I completely understand the need for growth and development are part of moving a city forward. But what I am concerned about is how we are doing it. Rezoning and annexing a large area like this to industrial zoning without a clearly defined plan for its use is, in my professional opinion, reckless. In my experience, zoning decisions at this scale set the trajectory for decades. Once it is done, it is very difficult to walk back. To a point that Paul Wyman made earlier, often proposals come to the city and say, yes, I have this land. Are we rezoning just to have it, or are we rezoning it because we have a plan for it? I don't think it is shameful to say that we have a plan for it. I don't care if you do or don't at this point. All I'm asking you is that consider that you do have a plan before you make decisions like this. I am here tonight to make one primary point. You were elected by the people of Kokomo to represent the people of Kokomo as you make decisions like this. And there has been a very clear message from a large people of residents here tonight, as well as in the past, who have spoken at previous meetings. People are not asking for no development. They are asking for responsible development. They have been specific. They don't want data centers. They don't want nuclear-related uses. They don't want additional strain on our water, either through contamination risk or through high volume usage. They don't want projects like this to overburden our existing utilities and infrastructure. These are not abstract concerns. They are practical impacts that affect people's daily lives and the long-term health of this very community, of which I am honored to say that I live in. So my ask is simple. If you move forward with this rezoning, use the authority that the people have entrusted you to place clear and enforceable restrictions on how this land be used. Do not leave it open-ended. Define what is acceptable, and just as importantly, define what is not. Because once this designation is in place, the next decision may not come back to this room with the same level of public input or scrutiny. This is the moment to get it right. Thank you.
Melissa Swain.
Hi, I'm Melissa Swain, 423 East North Street. I would just like to say, in order to have this industrial park shovel ready like you want it, that's actually putting the cart before the horse. It means doing things the wrong order, putting something that should have come later before something that should have come first. Criticizes inverted priorities or actions that make success unlikely because prerequisites were ignored. They mentioned prerequisites, so I went to the definition of prerequisites. And used as a noun, the third sentence down says something that must be gained in order to gain something else. That's a strategy. And with that strategy, the art or skill of using stratagems in endeavors such as politics and business, and also strategy, a plan for action resulting from strategy or intended to accomplish a specific goal or plan. So with that being said, I think that pulling the cart before the horse is actually going to restrict all of us to be able to participate in our government decisions. And so that's going to be hindered. And I just want to make sure that you guys know that that's what's going to happen before you make the vote on this. For anything future that we may need to bring up.
Melissa, I'm sorry, but your time's up.
Thank you.
Carrie Redmond.
Okay, wish me luck. So, my name is Carrie Redmond. I live at 4386 North, 200 East. I live directly across the street from the area in question. I want to touch base on something Mr. Stewart said at the last meeting. He spoke about representing the people who want to sell their property, or also representing, and asked, don't they have the right to do that? They absolutely have that right. In a normal situation, a landowner decides to sell their home or farmland, they put it on the market, and buyers make offers. Farm ground is in high demand right now, so if these properties had simply been listed for sale, there's little doubt they would have received offers quickly. But that's not what's happening here. In this situation, these property owners were approached and offered life-changing amounts of money, far above the value of their land. But that offer came with a condition. They have to have the land annexed and rezoned first. So the request before you tonight isn't simply about someone selling their property. It's about changing the future of this entire area so a specific deal can happen. And that change doesn't just affect one family or one piece of land. It affects hundreds of families who already live here. It affects the character of the community.
It'll affect the people who live here for generations to come. It's also important to remember that even if the annexation and rezoning are voted down, these property owners still have choices. They can still sell their land. Growth can still happen in empty areas already zoned for high industrial. Kokomo and Howard County can continue to grow while this area remains agricultural. If this is approved tonight, the rest of us are left with two choices. One, stay and live with the potential health, environmental, and quality of life impacts that a large industrial park could bring. Or two, leave the homes and community we love, possibly leaving Kokomo altogether. So when you cast your vote, I ask you to think about who this decision truly serves. Is it for a few property owners who were offered an extraordinary deal, or is it for the many families who already live here, who already built their lives here, and who will have to live with the consequences of the decision long after tonight? The decision you make tonight will shape this area for decades. Please stand with the families who already call this place home. Please vote no. Thank you.
Gary McNew.
Thank you for allowing us to speak here tonight. My name is Gary McNew. I live at 5794 North, 100 East. And before my time starts, I really have a question for you. For those in attendance here tonight, can you explain what follows this meeting after our vote, after your vote?
I have no idea which way the meeting's going to go.
Okay. Okay. I guess what I'm saying is that it will never come back here again. Is that correct?
If a business came in and wanted some type of incentive or abatements, that's the only reason it would come back before this group. Other than that, if a business applies and wants to build here, they would go through the planning commission.
Okay.
So it's an abstract question you're asking. I can't answer because I don't know which direction it's going to go.
Okay. So I'm just wanting to know that, if it let's say if you vote no, then naturally it's going to, this whole process will start all over again. So nevertheless, let me say it this way. Okay. You can start my time now. Okay. Okay, I have been before the planning commission regarding this issue, and while there were some good members on that planning commission, I do question the professionalism and the leadership of that commission. Okay, many of you may have witnessed that. This is my third time to come before you, the council, here tonight. And while each of you have conducted yourself in a very professional manner, I want to compliment you on that. Okay. And given us time to express our concerns, I still have been critical of this entire process. Mr. Davis, you know that you've been quoted in the Tribune, and these ordinance will not be continued, which tells me the council feels as it's heard enough from the public not to change its position. I'm just curious, did the council take a vote on whether or not to accept the request for a continuance, or did you make that decision as the president?
No continuance has been put before this board.
Okay, so, but you quoted yourself in the paper saying,
I was asked if there was going to be a continuance, and my answer is what I told them. There's no request for a continuance for any of these ordinances.
okay, I'm requesting that.
Absolutely a lie. I'm sorry.
Okay, very good.
I sent to every one of you on this board and the mayor.
If you're not going to speak out,
Hold
you're
on,
going to leave.
hold on, please.
You're gonna trample my First Amendment right?
Sir,
Is that what you're gonna do?
We're going to do it orderly. We're going to do it orderly, or you can go out with the officers.
You want to trample my First Amendment right to inform this whole.
Excuse me.
This whole. Group
Thomas.
Continuance.
Tom.
It was requested.
Thomas, can I answer Mr. McNew on his question? I might be able to help him
Okay,
about
please.
a time limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird statute on zoning. Can you hear?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. A weird statute on zoning. If it's passed and it comes to us, we have to make a decision within 90 days. If we did nothing, since it came from the Plan Commission with a favorable recommendation, it would automatically pass.
Okay.
If we wanted to take the easy way out, we wouldn't have had to do anything for 90 days and it would have passed. So we are under a time constraint.
Okay.
So I just wanted you to be
All right,
aware.
thank you. Okay. Believe this or not, I am not here tonight to express any criticism. I'm here tonight to request a continuance for Ordinance 7229 and Ordinance 7234. That's why I'm here. Okay? And then I beg of you, please give reconsideration to a continuance regarding these ordinances as they are written. Please give consideration to the focusing of the 220 acres between US 31, 931, which has been vacant and underdeveloped for years. Okay? Now, Greg, I know that you don't want council members to let us pull their heartstrings, okay? But this is a significant emotional event for the citizens of this city. We simply ask that you take a deep breath, hit the pause button, do research on how these types of decisions have impacted other cities like ours. Best yet, just vote no, okay? Thank you.
Larry McNew.
Well, I won't be speaking tonight because you gave him enough time to say
Alley Pond.
I made it off the plane just in time. Good evening, Council. My name is Allie Pond. I live at 5221 North, 200 East. And I, too, would like to thank you tonight for letting us speak on this decision. But I must say I am frustrated this week because our communications have changed drastically. I have yet to receive a reply or even confirmation of receiving my email with a cited document completed with questions, matters of fact, and a call log. I ask now that email to be put on record and to let the record show that I have not received any answers, but I am still hopeful to hear some answers tonight. If not, I would also like the record to show refusal of answer or lack of answers to my pertinent questions. If you would have read my email, you would have read that I spoke with the Plan Commission Secretary and I identified issues within the city ordinances that would conflict with this zoning. I pointed this out and was told that it was just an oversight. And from just my minimal experience in this world, I don't believe oversights do well in appeals. Next, I'd like to ask if anyone on this board can identify the zoning to this magnitude that is already present in Kokomo that would put ag directly adjacent to high industry without any buffers or phase zoning? Or would this be the first and only of its kind? Furthering my point that under the Indiana Code 36-7-4, this is not consistent with any present plan and violates the current ordinance. The comprehensive plan and ordinance exist to protect citizens from reactionary zoning. Decisions such as this. If this project requires ignoring the plan, then the plan itself should be amended first, not bypassed. I'd like to further point out that to the contrary to the petitioner's pitch, these two exits closest to the proposed area don't offer any more speed to market than any other areas nearby. For example, the failed industrial park on the west side of 931 that has not been developed. Specifically, the 400 North exit only goes southbound and not north, meaning you would still have to travel to US 931 to get to the northbound highway. Due to the admittance of oversights and several other questionable tactics, specifically regarding the IEDC's land acquisitions, I've notified the SBOA to look into the matters of using federal and taxpayer dollars to acquire this land, as well as matters of procedural accuracy and potential conflicts of interest. They have forwarded those on to other boards as well. Council, we've seen it all over the news about data centers, but the fact of the matter is, even if we don't know if it's a data center, this could possibly be your only vote to stop one. I hope you don't take this lightly and pass the buck by making nearly an irreversible land use decision. Based on all of these unresolved issues, a narrow 5-4 Plan Commission vote, I ask that this be remanded back to the Plan Commission for further clarification and amendments to this proposal. Thank you for spending an extra couple hours of your time for something that might change my whole life.
Todd Bello.
Todd Blau, 5248 North, 250 West, Kokomo. I'm 54 years old. I've lived here all my life. I got a 13-year-old son that I care very, very much about. I've worked at the Kokomo Fire Department for almost 20 years. I've worked for this city, okay? I know how the innards work and stuff, and I mean, you guys already got your mind set up and how it's all going. I mean, this is just a dog and pony show, But I mean, I'm here to say that actions have reactions and reactions have consequences. The irresponsible rezoning of land over by the battery plant. I just had a friend of mine, he passed away. 7 months ago, he got cancer. I've witnessed people dumping shit out there on the ground and pushing it into the drains. There's no oversight. There's chemicals out there that causes cancer, causes people to go sterile. There's no oversight, and what kind of oversight is there going to be if you put another industrial plant in there? I mean, dude, I ask that you guys do the right thing and vote the right thing, man. I mean, and rezoning this, messing with our water, our environment, pulling water out, putting water back down and through all that chemicals and everything. My buddy died of cancer, man. He died of cancer. He lived right there. He didn't drink water from his well. He took a shower in it, though. Now, 7 months later, he's dead. I mean, when's it going to stop, man? Profit over people? Come on. You're disappointing me. Very, very disappointing.
Aaron, you want to speak? Okay. Paul Wyman.
Council members, thank you all for providing an opportunity for everyone to engage in dialogue about the growth and the future of Kokomo. Kokomo has a strong and proven record of success in this very location. When people ask what will this look like 30 years from now, we don't have to speculate. We can point to the last 30 years. From the transmission plant, to the engine plant, to the battery plant, to the logistics operations, to interstate quality interchanges, and hundreds of millions of dollars of utility improvements speak for themselves. There is no other place in our community where we can replicate this level of success. What we are proposing today is an expansion of that success. It's an opportunity to say that Kokomo remains open for business. Periods of growth bring construction and increased revenue for local businesses, just as you heard directly from our unions at the last meeting. At the same time, our residents gain access to jobs. So as past generations invested in Kokomo's future for us, we now have the responsibility to do the same for our children and grandchildren. Community leaders, former council members, former mayors, along with this council and this mayor, have all played a role in shaping this location into the foundation of Kokomo's growth. Investment and jobs have come here, the future is already taking shape, and frankly, the success is undeniable. Just this past week, Samsung SDI announced a $1.5 trillion ESS prismatic battery supply deal over 4 years. Production that will take place right here in Kokomo, Indiana. This is the importance of having globally. This is the importance of having.
2 minutes. You shut us off. I will see that he stops, okay?
Thank you. This is the importance of having globally recognized companies investing in our community. So we should celebrate these moments, capitalize on them, and today you have petitioners who are ready to invest millions in our community because of this success. So tonight, I respectfully ask that you vote yes and continue to make Kokomo a place where investment and opportunities. Thank you.
Sit down, Simon.
Okay, that concludes the communication from the audience.
Excuse me. Can I speak? I did not get a chance to sign the paper because it was already moved.
Go ahead. You give us your name and address.
I am Jennifer Walker. I'm here as a sovereign being, a living person. My address is Howard County, Kokomo. You are being told that this project is gold for Kokomo, but it's not. The facility is a physical battery of the citizens. The infrared sound and low-frequency noise from the massive fans are not just sounds. They are physical, kinetic waves that penetrate our homes and our bodies 24/7. Clinical science proves that fibroacoustic disease, the physical thickening of the heart and blood vessels tissue through a biological process called mechanotransduction. Under Indiana Code 16-20-1-25, you are legally prohibited from permitting any condition that promotes disease. Furthermore, under the public doctrine, trust doctrine, you are trustees of our water, not the owners. You have no legal authority to delete millions of gallons of groundwater for private corporate gain. The developers are selling you a machine. I'm here to remind you of the people. You are being told that sound is noise, but science proves it is a physical battery. You are being told that water is usage, but the law proves it is a public trust. If you vote yes tonight, you are not voting for the progress. You are voting for the willful negligence of our health and the dissolution of our resources. You guys work for us. We are the people. You signed an oath. What's Article 1 for the people? We hold the power, not you. And if you don't get it together and vote right tonight, we will hold you accountable tomorrow. Your surety bonds, we will come after them. We're done playing. You understand? This is not a game anymore. My grandchild is being raised here. Your kids are being raised here. Their kids are being raised here. Enough is enough. You're not held accountable anymore. These guys are. So you guys better vote right. Thank you.
Okay, I'd ask the clerk to read Ordinance 7229 by title only, please.
Ordinance 7229, an ordinance annexing certain territory to the city of Kokomo, Indiana, placing the same within the corporate boundaries thereof, and making it the same a part of the city of Kokomo, Indiana.
Sorry, can you speak?
Councilman Griecu.
We can't hear. We can't hear. It's red. You haven't turned it on.
She didn't like that. She didn't like that at all.
You want to read it by title again, please?
Ordinance 7229 is an ordinance annexing certain territory to the city of Kokomo, Indiana, placing the same within the corporate boundaries thereof, and making the same a part of the city of Kokomo, Indiana.
Councilman Griecu.
Mr. President, Ordinance 7229 is an ordinance annexing certain territory to the city of Kokomo, Indiana, placing the same within the corporate boundaries thereof, and making the same a part of the city of Kokomo, Indiana. This petition has been signed by 100% of the landowners proposed to be annexed. This council has held a public hearing on February 23rd and passed a resolution adopting the fiscal plan for approximately 746 acres of 40-some parcels that are listed within the ordinance. I move for passage of Ordinance 7229 on second reading.
Do we have a second? Support. Okay, that's second, Councilman. Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass Ordinance 7229. Is there any communication by anyone on the council?
Who seconded it? We can't hear.
I second it. Mr. President, I'd like to read some of my thoughts that I wrote down about this.
Yes, please.
I prefer to see individual projects for annexation and rezoning brought before the council as they're proposed. If we pass both of these ordinances allowing annexation and rezoning, proposals will never come before an elected body again, only the Plan Commission. No elected official will be accountable for these major decisions that have major implications for our city. I have a problem with that. I would like to urge my colleagues on the council not to abdicate our responsibility to the community to the appointed members of the Plan Commission. Voting no is not saying no to growth, but will allow each future project to stand upon its own merits in a timely and orderly fashion. And, you know, we all want to see Kokomo grow. But for Kokomo to grow, people have to want to live here. And, you know, I've worked in factories, and I know so many people work here and choose to live someplace else. I want them to choose to live in Kokomo. So, thank you. Councilman, are you done? Any other communication by council? Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass annexation ordinance 7229. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Ask the clerk to take roll, please.
Aye.
You're disappointing. Your qualified immunity is going to be gone with that notice. Shame on you. No. So sad.
Councilman Stevenson? Councilman Greekyu?
Aye.
Councilman Plow? Councilman Collins?
Aye.
Councilman Stewart?
Aye.
Councilwoman Sandburn? Councilman Davis?
Aye. Motion passes 8-1.
Seriously, with this level of disrespect.
Ask the clerk.
You are very respectful.
And we're asked to be respectful.
We ask the city clerk to read ordinance 7234 by title only, please.
Ordinance 7234 is case P04Z26, is a rezone for an industrial park.
Councilman Greekyu.
Mr. President, Ordinance 7234 is a petition of Whitmore and Blackwell, LLC, the IEDC, Samsung SDI America, and Victor L. and William David DeVore, represented by Paul Wyman, for a change in zone classification from AG Agricultural, IA intense agricultural, RR rural residential, and C2 medium to large scale general commercial within the AGOL agriculture overlay to HI high intensity industrial heavy manufacturing within the OIA OL office industrial agricultural overlay for the property that we just annexed. I would move for passage of Ordinance 7234 on second reading.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to pass Ordinance 7234. Is there any communication by anyone in the council?
I think I owe an explanation to my constituents for my vote. And I'd love for you to hear me, and please not interrupt. I would appreciate that so much. Thank you. This is very difficult for all of us, you out there and us as well. I want you to first understand that. I want to speak sincerely to every member of this community, especially those who came forward in opposition to tonight's annexation and rezoning votes. Your commitment to protecting our natural resources and ensuring the safety of this community and area is not something I take lightly. It is exactly the kind of engaged citizenship that makes this city worth fighting for. And I mean that genuinely. I heard you, I read your emails, and I responded. I listened intently at the meetings. I've taken notes on each speaker at every single meeting, including this evening. I've spoken to local Kokomo water experts that are not a part of the city, not a part of any water company, our local Duke Energy representatives, the IEDC personnel, and landowners. I've worked for the last 3 weeks every single day to talk to as many people as I can possibly talk to. I have done my homework. I read tons of water articles and read all social media posts from as many resources as possible, even the nasty and unfair comments about me personally. I investigated other communities on how they handled annexation and data centers, and have already suggested to our Plan Commission director and the mayor that we should investigate creating a new category above high intensity for possible future zoning and rezoning of new technology that we have not zoned in the past. I am a citizen of this community as well, and I genuinely weighed your concerns and my personal concerns about annexation and data centers before making my final decision. I know these ordinances have stirred strong feelings and emotions, and I deeply respect those who came forward with all concerns. Healthy debate is the foundation of good governance, and I take every voice seriously, including this evening's comments. However, my responsibility as a council member is to make decisions based on the facts as they exist today, not on speculation about what may or may not happen in the future. At this time, no specific use or development has been proposed, approved, or even formally discussed for this newly annexed area. To vote against annexation and rezoning based on what a project might someday be would be a disservice to the integrity of this process and would count us out of future opportunities for jobs and revenue. Please let me finish. Thank you. Bringing this land under our city's jurisdiction is, in my view, a responsible step forward that gives our community far greater oversight and control over what ultimately happens there. If and when a specific development proposal is ever submitted, it will go through a full, rigorous, and public review process, including environmental assessments and safety evaluations where every concern raised tonight will have a proper forum and full open community input. The people who showed up tonight and in previous meetings will have every right, and every opportunity to give input at the Plan Commission and site plan meetings. And I genuinely hope you all show up to those meetings because I know I will be there. I did not cast this vote lightly and won't cast this vote lightly, and I did not cast it against the people who oppose it. I have agonized over this. I cast it because I believe good governance means acting on what we know, preserving our ability to shape the future, and trusting the process we have built to protect this community.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments, communication by anyone else in the council?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to make comments. I firmly believe that my council members have listened carefully to the concerns that have been expressed and recognize these matters have been very thoughtfully and deliberately considered. As members of this community ourselves, we share a commitment to ensuring our families and our city continue to thrive. My colleagues and I have devoted significant time to listening, researching, and discussing these issues that have been brought forward. This has included attending a meeting in Indianapolis where I had the opportunity to engage with individuals from across the state regarding concerns related to data centers, as well as participating in numerous additional discussions. Currently, the topic of data centers is completely speculative. I've reached out to several individuals who would likely have been involved in bringing such a development to Kokomo, and all have indicated that there is currently no plans or actions underway. Additionally, no non-disclosure agreements have been reported, and as a result of that, though, I would not support a data center at this time based off of the concerns that have been expressed by the folks in this community. Public concerns about such a project should not be ignored. With respect to the water concerns, information shared by a local expert indicates that our current drought situations are improving. Additionally, advancements in technology have offered opportunities to significantly reduce water usage and mitigate potential contamination. If such a project should be considered, restrictions should be mandated concerning water usage and the potentials of contamination. Concerning the electrical demands also warrant continued review. Should a project of this nature be considered in the future, it is important to remember that any company that's involved would be responsible for funding the necessary infrastructure upgrades and operate in a way that does not lead to increased costs for residents, both now and in the future. Other states and municipalities have begun implementing similar requirements. Indiana Senate Bill 257, which was introduced in January 2026, is intended to provide consumers with meaningful safeguards, assuming that that does pass. I support the proposed annexation and rezoning as part of a broader effort to bring new business and industry to Kokomo and Howard County. An important aspect in this discussion is our local unemployment rate, which is something that hasn't been discussed at this point. As of December 2025, Howard County has the highest unemployment rate in the state at 4%. The state average is 2.7%. Addressing this challenge will require attracting new businesses to our area. In addition, we must work to diversify our employment opportunities to reduce our reliance on the automobile industry and strengthen the resilience of our local community.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other communication from anyone else on the council? Okay, we have a first and second. We have a call for the, we have to go with the vote, sir. Thank you. Mr. McNew, we don't. Mr. No, sir, we're past that. We have a motion and a second to pass ordinance 7234, the rezoning ordinance. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. Ask the clerk to take roll.
Councilman Capshaw. Aye. Councilman Miklick.
Aye.
Councilman Stevenson. Nay. Councilman Griecu.
Aye.
Councilman Plow.
Aye.
Councilman Collins.
Aye.
Councilman Stewart.
Aye.
Councilwoman Sandburn.
Aye.
Councilman Davis.
Aye. Motion passes 8-1. Is there any final communications from anyone on the council? That being the case, this meeting is concluded.